Have you opened the news recently and noticed something that feels a little alarming? Headlines talking about missiles, military ships in the Persian Gulf, and rising tensions between the United States and Iran.
Yeah, and if you've been scrolling through social media or watching the news, you've probably seen people asking the same question. Are the United States and Iran at war right now?
Some people say yes, others say not exactly. And honestly, it can be confusing to understand what's really happening.
Exactly. The situation is serious, but it's also complex. And today we're going to break it down in a way that's simple, clear, and easy to understand.
We'll talk about how this conflict started, what has happened over the past few weeks, what both countries want, and the big question everyone is asking.
Will this situation turn into a larger war?
Or will diplomacy and negotiations bring peace?
So if you're curious about global politics, world news, and how international conflicts work, this episode is for you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Alex.
And you're listening to English by Mind Training, the podcast where we explore real-world topics while helping you understand natural English used in everyday conversations.
So grab your coffee, sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's topic.
Segment 1. The long history between the United States and Iran.
Before we talk about what's happening right now, we need to understand something important. The tension between the United States and Iran did not start this month.
Exactly. In fact, the relationship between these two countries has been tense for more than 4 decades.
Let's go back to 1979, when a major event called the Iranian Revolution happened.
Before that revolution, Iran had a government that was friendly with the United States. But after the revolution, a new leadership came into power that strongly opposed American influence.
One of the most famous moments from that time was the U.S. Embassy hostage crisis, when American diplomats were held in Iran for over a year.
Since then, the relationship has been filled with distrust, sanctions, military tension, and political disagreements.
Over the years, the United States has accused Iran of supporting armed groups in the Middle East and trying to expand its influence in the region.
Meanwhile, Iran often says the United States interferes too much in Middle Eastern politics and tries to control the region.
Segment 2. The nuclear issue. One of the biggest reasons for tension today is Iran's nuclear program.
A nuclear program can be used for peaceful purposes like generating electricity, but it can also be used to develop nuclear weapons.
The United States and several other countries worry that Iran might eventually build nuclear weapons.
Iran has repeatedly said its nuclear program is for peaceful energy and scientific research.
Because of this disagreement, the U.S. and its allies have placed economic sanctions on Iran for many years.
Sanctions are basically financial restrictions designed to pressure a country to change its policies.
And those sanctions have had a huge impact on Iran's economy.
Segment 3. What happened last month?
Now, let's talk about what changed recently. Over the past month, tensions between the United States and Iran suddenly escalated.
Military operations targeted several strategic locations connected to Iran's military infrastructure.
These operations were meant to weaken Iran's military capabilities and prevent potential threats.
Iran responded quickly with missile and drone attacks targeting military locations connected to the United States and its allies.
And that's when the situation became extremely tense.
Segment 4. The Strait of Hormuz.
Another important part of the story is a place called the Strait of Hormuz.
If you look at a world map, you'll see that the Strait of Hormuz is a very narrow waterway between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula.
And even though it's small, it's one of the most important shipping routes on the planet.
About 20% of the world's oil supply passes through that waterway.
So when military activity happens there, the entire world pays attention.
Recently, there were reports that Iranian boats were placing mines in the water, which could threaten oil tankers.
U.S. naval forces responded by destroying some of those boats to keep the shipping route open.
Segment 5. How this affects Americans.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but this is happening thousands of miles away. Why should Americans care?
That's a good question. Even though the conflict is happening far from the United States, it still affects everyday life.
The first impact is oil prices.
When tensions rise in the Persian Gulf, oil prices usually increase because the global supply could be disrupted.
And when oil prices rise, gasoline prices in the United States often rise too.
Another impact is military deployment.
Thousands of American troops are stationed in the Middle East, so their safety becomes a major concern.
Families in the U.S. worry about their loved ones serving overseas.
Segment Segment 6. Public opinion in the United States.
Inside the United States, people have different opinions about this situation.
Some Americans believe strong military action is necessary to protect national security.
Others believe diplomacy should always be the first option.
There are also people who worry that another major conflict in the Middle East could become very expensive and last many years.
That's why debates about foreign policy often become very intense in American politics.
Segment 7. Could this turn into a full-scale war?
Now let's talk about the biggest question everyone is asking. Could this conflict turn into a full-scale war?
Right now, experts say the situation is serious, but still controlled.
Both countries have strong military forces, and a large war would be extremely destructive.
That's one reason why leaders often try to avoid direct large-scale war, even during intense conflicts.
Instead, many conflicts happen through smaller military actions, strategic pressure, and political negotiations.
Segment 8. The role of diplomacy. Diplomacy plays a huge role in situations like this.
Diplomacy means communication and negotiation between governments to resolve conflicts peacefully.
International organizations and other countries often help mediate these discussions.
Sometimes these negotiations happen quietly behind the scenes.
And sometimes they take months or even years.
Segment 10. The global impact.
This conflict doesn't just affect the United States and Iran.
It affects the entire world.
Countries that depend on Middle Eastern oil are watching closely.
Financial markets react quickly to any sign of escalation.
And political alliances may shift depending on how the situation develops.
Segment 10. What might happen next?
So, what happens next?
There are a few possible scenarios.
One possibility is continued military tension, but without a major war.
Another possibility is that negotiations begin and both sides slowly reduce military actions.
And the worst-case scenario would be a larger regional war involving more countries.
Most experts hope the second option, diplomacy, will happen.
Closing discussion. History shows that even very tense conflicts can eventually lead to negotiation and compromise.
And many global leaders are currently encouraging both sides to reduce military activity and start discussions.
The next few weeks will likely be very important.
Because decisions made now could shape the future of the region for years to come.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode.
If you enjoyed this discussion and want to understand global news while improving your English,
make sure to follow English by Mind Training.
We break down real-world topics in simple English so you can learn naturally.
Until next time,
Stay curious,
stay informed,
and keep learning with English by Mind Training.